Pittsburgh Steelers, who, in my opinion, had an insane draft. Just looking at the talent that they got, it sucks to say. I think that they killed it. But Derek, what were kind of your thoughts on their draft?
So the Steelers draft is fascinating because they went offensive line. Forgive me, I forget who they picked with their first pick. But
Fantano?
That's right,
Troy?
the tackle from
I
Washington.
think he's a guard from Washington. At least that's what they have him listed as. But I think he could play tackle. Let's see, he's 6'4", 317.
Yeah.
Either a very big guard or an average tackle.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, you want to run down their picks real fast?
Oh,
too?
shit. Yeah, sorry. What was I thinking?
No, you're good.
So, let's go with the first round pick. 20th overall from Washington, the guard Troy Fontanu. And then second round, center out of West Virginia, Zach Frazier. In the third round, wide receiver out of Michigan, Roman Wilson. And then they got another Wilson joining him in the third round. Out of NC State, the linebacker Peyton Wilson. And then we've got in the fourth round, guard out of South Dakota State, Mason McCormick. The sixth round brought them a D-tackle out of Iowa, Logan Lee. And later in the sixth round, they got a corner out of Texas, Ryan Watts. Derek, I already asked you once, but it was my mistake. What do you think about that class?
Okay, so my thought was when we got to pick 20, I thought for sure it was going to be defensive back. For sure. Because at that point, there was, I don't want to say all of them available, but a lot of them for sure.
Yeah, majority
because
of them,
the first defensive player picked was Laiatu Latu at 15 to the Colts. So, yeah, I mean, I thought the Steelers were going to go DB for sure. Not that Joey Porter Jr.'s bad or the options they have are terrible, but, like, they need more help. And with it, pretty much everybody they could have had available, right, they go on the offensive line. Now, has their line been bad? Yeah, but my thing is you have, 2 rookies now coming in on the offensive line? So,
yep.
3
actually. They put a fourth round pick into Mason McCormick too.
Center.
He's a guard.
Yeah.
So there were 2 guards and a center that they picked. Their second round pick was their center.
Yeah. So, I mean, I expect those guys to play. And for me, I mean, maybe long term it'll be good picks, but for this upcoming year, I would be a little bit nervous, especially looking at Baltimore's defensive line, our defensive line. Cincinnati's was great. We'll see, or not even great, but it was good. We'll see what it can be now. I'll say I was happy that they went offensive line because I did not want them to go corner and bolster their secondary. But all in all, they had a couple picks that I just flat out want to throw up that they got them, and that's Peyton Wilson, the linebacker out of NC State. Now, he does have some problems, right? He is a little bit on the older side, and he's dealt with injuries. But aside from that, great player. And if he can stay healthy, he will be very good for them. And then Roman Wilson. Roman Wilson was falling. And, the Browns ended up taking another Michigan Wolverine with our third-round pick. But as we got closer, I was like, man, Roman Wilson in a Cleveland Browns jersey is going to look pretty nice. And guess what? He goes to Pittsburgh. So he was an op at Michigan. He's even more of an op now. So, hey, it is what it is. I mean, he's a good player. I'll say that. The Steelers always seem to find good talent at receiver in the later rounds. And this is a guy who you don't really know how good he is. And this is not JJ hate here. This is just Michigan doesn't throw the ball. Like, they run the football. And he's a talented receiver. And he's going to show you that he had a lot more to offer in college football than was allowed. And it sucks that he's in Pittsburgh. I'm confident in our secondary. Not really all that worried about him. But all in all, I think the Steelers had a good draft. I don't think it was I think it's one of the best drafts in the league, but it's not top 3, if that makes sense. It was really, really good. But if they added 1 or 2 more, and again, we'll see how it shakes out. It's all subject to change, right? Because you look at our draft last year, and it's like, oh, we got our defensive tackle, we got a good receiver, we got, me and you were sitting here talking about, oh, I don't know if Jowon Jones was going to be a good pick, and we had reason to think that.
I was optimistic.
Yeah, okay.
I was.
All right.
Trust me, I was.
All right.
I was. I'm promising you, I was optimistic.
I'll pull the tape.
Pull up the tape. I promise
I'll pull the tape.
This is gonna be a Martin Emerson situation all over again, where I was optimistic about MJ. I was optimistic, and you hated the pick. But listen, that's what this is about, right?
Okay, at the very least, Tristan, we were both skeptical about Jowon Jones.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, there were concerns.
Okay.
Yes, there was, and
So, my point there is, the picks that we were higher on, right? We're now higher on Jowon Jones, obviously, right? So this is all subject to change. We could be sitting here talking about, oh, I hate they got Peyton Wilson and Roman Wilson, but the defensive tackle from Iowa could be their best pick. We don't know, right? We don't know. It's a wait and see thing. But where we sit today, I think they got a lot of good players. We'll see how it shakes out. But if I'm being honest, I think Baltimore has them. I think Baltimore has Pittsburgh. I think when it's said and done, I think the Ravens will have had more impact players. That's just my opinion.
Okay. So what's your grade on the draft before I kind of go into my?
I'll give. Would I give Baltimore A minus? Yeah. All right, I'm gonna bump Baltimore up to an A and give the Steelers an A minus then.
Okay. I'm gonna go the inverse of you. I'm gonna keep Baltimore at an A minus. I'm gonna give Pittsburgh an A here. Listen, the most important thing when it comes down to it, winning in the AFC North is winning at the line of scrimmage. Number one, hands down, you gotta win at the line of scrimmage. With their first 2 picks, they picked 2 guys that not only do I think will be good starters for them, as far as being able to slot in and be starters for them, but I think that they're going to develop into good players, very good players in my opinion. Troy Fantano, I really, really like a lot. I think that he is going to be a very, very good addition for them. Zach Frazier, center out of West Virginia. I'm not the most informed on him, but what I have seen from him, I have liked. So, and again, it's the offensive line. It's the trenches. You got to win there if you're going to win in the AFC North. So I think it was a wise decision. Roman Wilson, they had a need at receiver, and I think Roman Wilson addresses that need, and I think he can be a very, very good Pittsburgh Steeler. And it sucks to say it, but he's very, very talented. And from a pure, prospect position, I'm excited to see what he can do in the NFL. I just hope none of it's against the Cleveland Browns. That's kind of just the hope with me. And then Peyton Wilson, I see as a guy, so they drafted Pat Queen. They signed Pat Queen in free agency. And now they've got Peyton Wilson too. I really like that combo for them in the middle. I think that combo gives you a lot of speed and a lot of coverage ability. And I think that they will essentially be able to just throw 5 on the D line, and they're going to be fine. Excuse me. I kind of get defensive back. You thinking they should have gone there, and I hear you. For me though, when I look at Pittsburgh, right, and I say what's been the thing that's been stopping them from being a very good team the past few years, none of it has been defense. It's all been on that offense. And you got 2 new quarterbacks in who, you expect will be better than what you had before. I'd be absolutely shocked if it wasn't the case. but also this team's going to commit to running the football, and that's the responsible and correct thing to do for this team, for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They are not a team that right now, while looking at them, I view as a big threat in the passing game. I think part of the attraction for getting Arthur Smith is them realizing we've got two backs that are good backs, and they haven't been able to maximize their potential because of the offensive line. I think that if they can get this offensive line going for them, and get it around where the Browns are offensive line wise, I think that team could do some damage this year. And I think those are the correct picks. Will they be the correct picks year one? I don't know. But I think in the long term, it was the right choice to go for those two. And then the Wilsons in the third round, I think great picks. Just great picks, man. Yeah, I really like their draft, unfortunately. Yeah, I think that they are going to commit to just being a team that defensively just blitzes and gets after the quarterback and shuts down the run, and they will not care about pass coverage as long as if their linebackers are good in coverage, they'll be fine. Coverage wise, I think they'll be fine. And it sucks, but it's just the case with them. It's the Mike Tomlin effect. So yeah, I hate to say it, but yeah, they had a great draft.
Yeah. And it sucks because to the point you just made, right? They, even if they don't have the defensive talent, they're very creative at how they use what they do have. And I think adding a guy like a Peyton Wilson, if he can remain healthy, that just gives them more chess pieces to kind of throw around and see what fits where. So